Hi there, these comments are for RR. This is Michael from OTC, OnlineTOEFLCourse.com. And you did some speaking practice, so I'm going to go ahead and listen to that in just a minute. Okay, let me find your file here. Let me get, so we have, okay, I have the speaking rubrics here. So I got my mind kind of thinking, right? And then here's your practice test. All right, let's see how we did on this.
I definitely think that the most important characteristic of a new house is the location. I prefer it the closest possible to my job, since it allows me to save time, which could be used for both doing extra hours in the job and going out with my family. First, saving time allows me to do extra hours, which could generate a lot of money that can be used to pay the house or to go out with my family. Second, this extra time can be used to go out with my family to a restaurant, park, or the movie theater. I definitely think that
Okay, so let's take a look at the rubrics here. Yeah, I think because of delivery, I'm going to put you at between 3.0 and 3.5. Your topic development and language use are very strong. You have some intonation problems in a few other areas, but overall, it's a strong response. Let's listen to it one more time.
I definitely think that the most important characteristic of a new house is the location.
Okay.
I prefer it the closest possible to my job.
Okay, let's go back to what you just said. I prefer.
Is the location. I prefer it the closest possible to my job.
I prefer it the closest possible to my job. So the grammar doesn't quite work there. I would say I prefer that it is closest to my job, or prefer my job to be closest, or I prefer my house to be the closest to my work. So I think in that case, you probably could have used a noun clause to help explain that idea, but you didn't. So I think I didn't even recognize that first, but that's a problem with your language use.
Since it allows me to save time, which could be used for both doing extra hours in the job and going out with my family.
Yeah, very good parallel structure for doing extra hours and spending with families. So you balanced, I think, both parts of that with a gerund there.
First, saving time allows me to do extra hours, which could generate a lot of money that can be used to pay the house or to go out with my family. Second,
Okay.
this extra time can be used to go out with my family to a restaurant, park, or the movie theater.
Okay, as you say, A, B, C, and then D. So your tone needs to go up on each of those items except the last item in the series, and that's when your tone drops a bit.
I def
Okay, so I think overall it's a good response. I think you're getting better with the speaking. You're speaking a little bit faster. You're getting more fluidity of expression, which means you're speaking fluently without too many awkward pauses and hesitations. I'm going to put you to about 23 to 25 points out of 30. What do you guys think at YouTube? How would you score this particular practice test? Would you give it 26 or not? I'm going to say maybe not quite 26 because of maybe the language use issue and then some problems with delivery. So RR, I want you to go to, as you work in the pronunciation area of my course, I think you're making some progress there. Keep working a little bit more with intonation, pronunciation lessons 36 through 40. You can also work in the lessons titled Thought Groups and Blending, pronunciation lessons 41 through 44. I'm looking at your essay right now, too. So, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Face to face communication is better than other types of communication, such as letters, email, or telephone calls. Use specific reasons and details to support your answer. So in this one, I'm giving you a score of 4.0 or 25 points out of 30. I think on this one, it's a good, strong essay. I think you have some occasional minor errors in structure, word form, or use of idiomatic language that doesn't really interfere in the meaning of your ideas. So let me show you. I'll just show you one example in the introduction here, what I mean by that. So you say in the thesis, I steadfastly support the fact that face-to-face communication outstands against electronic messages. I would just say here, and you can say is outstanding. Or how about this? Face-to-face communication outperforms electronic messages, maybe. You could say that. Maybe change this word to outperforms, and then it would be fine. Now, the one thing I want you to be careful about is you have kind of a template in here that you're using, and if it's your own template, it's okay. Just make sure you're not using any templates from the website, from a website. So you say, whereas opponents, this is the one I have question about here, whereas opponents may disagree that physical conversations are excellent to resolve problems faster, then I steadfastly support that. And then this one also, lately educated people have been debating about the efficiency. Be careful about these templates you're using here. Make sure they're not all over the internet. Make sure it's not something that the IBT human raters will recognize. Because if they recognize it and they've seen it before in other essays, then they know you've memorized it, and that's not considered what we call writing proficiency. That's just memorizing. So that's the only concern I have about that right in the introduction there. So your introduction should be original. It should be different from any other students who are completing the TOEFL exam. Basically with the introduction, you want to raise the topic, say some things related to communication, society, the nature of how we're sociable as human beings, then kind of narrow that a little bit to the question, which is about why communication is important, or discuss the different types of communication, and then get to your thesis. So make sure that the introduction should be different from any other student who is taking the TOEFL exam. And those are my basic comments on that. All right, keep up the great work. You've made a lot of improvements in both your speaking and your writing. I can see it. And I don't know anybody right now who is working harder than you. I mean, you're doing speaking and writing practice, almost every day. It's incredible at how much effort you're putting into your study. And students who do a lot of writing practice, I'll just give you one example. One of my students about 3 years ago, he did, I think, 25 writing practice tests over a period of 2.5 months at my website, and he improved his writing score in the actual TOEFL exam from 21 to 29 points. So it really does make a big difference, the practice. A lot of people think they can just watch a bunch of videos and improve their writing, but unfortunately that's not how it works. What you're doing is very, very effective. So keep up the great work.